Picture this. In the 1950s, families drowned mystery meat in cream sauce and called it gourmet. They melted government cheese on homemade dough for pizza parties, and they crumbled cottage cheese into glowing orange custard, serving it as dessert to kids who begged for seconds. Can you imagine? This was the era when TV dinners were futuristic. Moms stretched ground beef like gold, and everyone swore by meals that would make your stomach revolt today. But here's the crazy part. These weren't just desperate attempts at dinner. They were born from depression scars clashing with atomic age optimism. Welcome to the wild world of 1950s meals. 20 forgotten recipes that kept families fed and budgets balanced. Trust me, you won't believe what they actually put on their dinner tables. Let's start with something that sounds like a science experiment gone wrong. They mashed cottage cheese into glowing orange custard thickened with coconut, serving it as dessert. Wait, what? Cheese and custard? It was the 1950s Jell-O fever gone completely rogue. Picture those sunny Formica kitchens with Perry Como crooning, while moms flipped through ladies' home journal ads boasting Kraft cottage cheese, fresh as a daisy. Women bragged at PTA meetings about this exotic tropical treat using surplus Florida oranges and cheap Philippine coconut. The tangy curdle of cheese clashing with sweet citrus zest. A wobbly mound plopped on melamine plates beside Wonder Bread. Kids slurped it down, yelling more, "Ma," while Dad nodded approval. Today we cringe at the combination, but hey, it's the grandpa of protein smoothies. Fitness buffs rediscover it on TikTok as retro cottage whip, but with Greek yogurt swaps. Can you imagine blending this for your grandkids? But that cottage cheese creation was nothing compared to what soldiers were eating. Step into a steamy 1955 Ohio diner where vets in fedoras slurped paper-thin mystery beef draped in gluey cream sauce over toast, lovingly dubbed shit on a shingle. Wait, what? Dog food vibes for dinner? Life magazine ads blared Libby's chipped beef, tender, ready in minutes. Housewives bragged it's what kept the boys alive in the barracks, kids giggling over the naughty nickname. The toast crunched under fork tines, sauce oozing like forbidden lava, while Mom beamed, apron dusted in flour. Nobody batted an eye. It was peak thrift. Now it's a sodium nightmare, but keto fans revive it as keto creamed beef with almond milk. The glow-up we needed. Speaking of mystery, meat. Wait until you hear what they packed in school lunches. They slathered liverwurst, garlicky liver paste from factory grinders, thick on white bread with Miracle Whip, packing kids' lunches like it was PB&J. Wait, what? Organ meat mush as school fuel? Transport to a 1954 lunchroom buzz, brown bags rustling as tots unwrapped gooey slabs between spongy bread, the pungent garlic punch hitting noses amid chalk dust and hopscotch chants. Oscar Mayer flyers touted liverwurst, spread the good life. Moms claimed it builds iron-strong blood. The greasy smear on tongue, tangy mayo kick, pure nostalgia in every bite. We now see it as a superfood precursor packed with iron, the patu lover's retro root. But if you think organ meat sandwiches were wild, the government had its own food program. They melted neon orange government cheese, 5-pound bricks of processed surplus, onto dough for pizza, turning welfare lines into pizza parties with Uncle Sam slinging slices. Wait, what? Uncle Sam's Pizza Parlor? Cue up in 1955 Appalachia with families clutching ration cards as tangy plastic cheese bubbled on homemade crusts at church basements, kids cheering free pizza night. USDA posters promised American cheese, nutrition for victory gardens, stretchy pulls, salty bliss, survival with a smile. echoes in today's snap pizza kits. We gourmet-ize it with artisanal cheddars, while community ovens still nod to Uncle Sam's legacy. Government handouts were one thing, but the deli counter had its own mysteries. Picture 1956. Picnic blankets where families unpacked, Oscar Mayer olive. Loaf, mystery meat crammed with pimento-stuffed olives that wept brine between bread slices. Wait, what? Pickle meat as lunch? Grocery circulars cheered olive loaf, party in every slice while kids traded them, and moms quipped it was fancy as a drive-in date. The briny pop, meaty chew, BBQ smoke mingling in summer air. Now it's charcuterie's olive salami cousin. Try it grilled for fusion fun. But processed meats were just the beginning of one-pot wonders. They threw everything into one pot: canned spaghetti, elbow macaroni, ground beef, tomatoes, corn, kidney beans, calling it a complete family dinner for under $1. Can you imagine dumping a whole box of uncooked pasta straight into bubbling meat sauce without pre-boiling it first? Picture 1956. Formica kitchens with that fresh linoleum floor smelling like Johnson's paste wax, radio crooning Perry Como, while Betty Crocker recipes promised goulash, the magic meal that stretches your dollar. Kids clamored at the table as the pot simmered, filling the house with that irresistible tomatoey, beefy aroma mixed with canned corn sweetness. Nobody batted an eye when it turned into gloopy, colorful mush. Today's instant pot dump meals are goulash reborn as deconstructed chili mac. Same genius, just sanitized for modern safety. One-pot meals were practical, but their emergency rations were downright paranoid. These weren't just crackers. They were stamped U.S. government issue for atomic bomb shelters, made from Bulgur scraps that could sit for 20 years without spoiling. Did you know they actually used to do that? Flash to 1957 Cold War jitters with Life magazine ads, stockpile Bulgur crackers, your ticket to tomorrow from Army surplus, families stocking shelter pantries. The kitchen smelled toasty and wheaty, like a mix of graham crackers and sawdust, perfect for nibbling during Twilight Zone marathons. Dads bragged at the diner. These'll keep us alive when the Reds drop the big one. Now we call them superfood energy bars, with Bulgur rebranded as ancient grain. Same shelf-stable magic, better flavor. Emergency prep was serious business, but breakfast had its own survival tactics. Chrome diner stools in 1953 with Elvis on the jukebox, and housewives frying corned beef from dented cans, bones, gristle and all, mixed with cold potatoes for gourmet breakfast. Can you imagine chowing down on canned mystery meat hash like it was prime rib? Libby's cans boasted ads with factory moms promising one skillet to rule them all, while the black iron sizzled with pinkish meat chunks and caramelized onions. Served family-style on melamine plates with white bread toast to sop up yolk rivers. Echoes in Denny's hash brown skillets and Trader Joe's revivals, but with pasteurization. Progress we owe to those breakfast gambles. Breakfast risks were real, but dinner could be surprisingly simple. They crumbled day-old cornbread into deep bowls, drowned it in cold whole milk, and ate it with spoons like cereal, but for dinner, claiming it stuck to ribs better than steak. Wait, what? Dessert for supper? Step into 1955 rural porches with Jiffy cornbread mix, Dad carving chunks into enamel bowls with fresh milkman's milk, grandmas swapping Dust Bowl survival stories. The mash turned soft and pudding-like, cornbread's crumbly corn sweetness soaking up creamy milk. It's back as cornbread pudding in hipster cafes and overnight oats hacks. Simple milk meals were common, but canned meat combinations were legendary. Picture 1954, suburbia, with I Love Lucy glowing on TV while skillets hissed Spam cubes turning golden in lard, eggs bubbling around the wobbly pink mystery meat, Can you imagine feeding your family canned ham lump for breakfast, lunch, and victory dinners? Hormel's pyramid cans stacked in Frigidaire pantries with Saturday Evening Post ads featuring cheerful housewives, Spam, it hams it up without the fuss. Aroma of salty sweet pork hitting the fan, plated with Wonder Bread and ketchup squiggles. Spam's now a cult icon in musubi and TikTok fried rice. Canned meat was convenient, but protein combinations got truly weird. Housewives slathered peanut butter straight onto scoops of cottage cheese for lunch, calling it a perfect protein punch that kept kids full without cookies. Wait, what? Can you imagine your mom packing that in your lunchbox? Picture 1954 Ladies' Home Journal with glossy ads showing aproned moms spooning Borden's curds onto Skippy spread. Slogans promising 2 cents a serving fuels the family. Kids at the soda fountain traded comic books over PB and C sandwiches, giggling about how it stuck to the roof of your mouth like glue. Today's keto bowls and gym rat snacks echo this high-protein budget hack. Fitness influencers revive it with chia seeds for gut glow-up. Protein mashups were questionable, but gelatin creations were pure madness. Dinner parties featured lime Jell-O salads studded with ham chunks, celery, and pimento olives, wobbling on plates like savory Frankenstein that guests pretended to love. Hold on to your fork. Can you believe they served that to dinner guests? Step into 1956 suburbia with General Foods ads in Life magazine blasting mold, your family's favorites into fun, while bridge clubs stirred Knox gelatin with boiled tongue bits. Potlucks buzzed with oohs and ahs as molds unmolded with a dramatic schlop, served on lettuce leaves with Miracle Whip drizzle. We gag now, but today's charcuterie boards are fancy echoes of that wobbly weirdness. Gelatin creations were memorable, but vegetable surprises had their own tricks. The surprise wasn't veggies. It was Velveeta cheese and crushed potato chips stirred into drained pea tins, baked bubbly to fool finicky eaters. Wait, what? Cheese and chips in your vegetables? Picture 1953 kitchens with Del Monte cans popping open to murky olive orbs, Saturday Evening Post ads crowing canned peas surprise, dinner's secret weapon. Gooey Velveeta melting into salty pea mush, topped with Ruffles crunch that fried to gold in butter pats. Today's TikTok tuna melts, and cheesy green bean casseroles are sanitized survivors. Canned veggie tricks were wild, but fresh produce got creative treatment too. Picture 1957 soda shops with car hops delivering platters where beefsteak tomatoes sat quartered like ruby pyramids, drowned in Russian dressing thick enough to glue forks. Wait, what? Salad dressing as cement? Hellman's ads in McCall's screamed, "Wedge it, dress it, wow 'em," while Dinah Shore cooed, fresh from the farm, fancy and five over milkshake-sipping families. Cold, crisp bite yielding to creamy, fishy ooze, pure 50s chic. We refined it into capris or wedge blues with balsamic. Fresh salads had their style, but leftover magic was pure genius. Moms crumbled pot roast scraps into biscuit dough, baking steaming pockets that hid gristle and gravy, marketing them as magic meat muffins to kids. Wait, what? Mystery meat hidden in bread? Flash to 1952 farmhouses with flour-dusted rolling pins and Pillsbury ads promising biscuit bliss mix. Stretch your roasts while families gathered around oak tables. Kids slurped milk from jelly jars, trading bites at recess. Flaky crust yielding to warm, chewy meat confetti. It pioneered food waste reduction and today's meat pies. Equivalent to Thanksgiving turkey handhelds, pure 1950s creativity, leftover creativity, was essential, but simple combinations could be unusual. Housewives sliced raw carrots lengthwise and jammed them into processed cheese loaf blocks like orange sticks in a yellow piñata, calling it vegetable cheese delight. Can you imagine your mom handing you that at the dinner table? Picture 1955. Formica counters with chrome Sputnik lamps, while Ladies' Home Journal ads screamed Kraft Velveeta, spread smoother than butter. Post-war frugality meant every scrap counted, the air smelling of tangy cheese and fresh-cut veggies. Today's hidden veggie toddler pouches echo this hack. We swapped neon cheese for organic cheddar sticks with carrot hummus dips. Cheese combinations were creative, but dessert survival was pure sugar warfare. Families drowned creamy stovetop rice pudding in log cabin syrup straight from the bottle, sometimes a quarter cup per bowl, turning poor man's dessert into sticky sugar slicks. Did you know they actually used to do that at the supper table? Picture 1954 evenings with Frigidaire steam and Evening Star sports pages while mom stirred arborio rice in whole milk, radio spots blaring log cabin, nature's sweetest pour. Families gathered on vinyl couches post-dinner, spoons clinking against Pyrex bowls. More syrup, honey? Build strong bones, aunts would say. It's the OG loaded dessert that foreshadowed keto rice pudding with almond milk. Same genius, just sanitized for modern safety. Sweet survival had its appeal, but baked goods had their own shortcuts. They baked massive war cake sheet pans using coffee grounds and vinegar instead of eggs or milk, slicing grab-and-go squares that powered, sock hops without waste. Can you imagine rationing hacks tasting like heaven? Mid-1950s suburbia with pink appliances dinging while Duncan Hines mix blended with percolating coffee, McCall's ads gushing Betty Crocker sheet cake, feeds 24 for a dime. After school, kids snatched squares from waxed paper, munching while watching Howdy Doody. It's the ancestor of vegan brownies and air fryer sheet pans. Vinegar hacks thrive in gluten-free baking. Baking shortcuts were clever, but fruit combinations got genuinely bizarre. Cooks dumped Del Monte canned peaches, pears, pineapple, and mandarins into Pyrex bowls, sloshed in Miracle Whip and cheddar shreds for fruit salad supreme dinner sides. Wait, what? Cheese in fruit salad? Transport to 1956 potlucks with fluorescent lights buzzing over checkered tablecloths, Dole ads touting 5 fruits in 1 can, while Bridge Club ladies grated Kraft cheese. Slick fruit sliding in creamy dressing, cheesy tang cutting the sweetness. Today's yogurt parfaits and poke bowls echo the vibe safely. Fruit experiments were memorable, but bread was the ultimate survival foundation. Families slathered 6 Parker House rolls with half-stick butter per stack, piling them tower-high to sop gravy drops, feeding 4 for under 15 cents. Did you know they buttered before baking sometimes, creating greasy explosions? Picture 1955. Thanksgiving with turkey aromas and Pillsbury ads in Saturday Evening Post blaring hot roll mix, fresh in 20 minutes while kids yanked apart steaming towers. "Stack 'em high, boys, gravy's coming," Mom laughed, the room alive with buttery richness and floury warmth. It's the blueprint for garlic knots and loaded fries. Pure mischievous joy that marked butter's last wild hurrah before health consciousness took over. And there you have it, friends. 20 forgotten meals that prove the 1950s were way weirder and more wonderful than we remember. Can you imagine serving government cheese pizza to dinner guests? Or packing liverwurst sandwiches in your kid's lunchbox? These weren't just recipes. They were born from families who survived the Depression and weren't about to waste a single scrap. Here's the crazy part that gets me every time. None of this seemed strange back then. Nobody batted an eye at cottage cheese custard or Spam breakfast skillets. These meals fed families, stretched budgets, and somehow convinced an entire generation they were eating like royalty on a dime. Sure, we cringe now at some combinations, but think about it. These hacks influenced everything from modern food culture to today's meal prep trends. That weird peanut butter cottage cheese combo? It's basically the grandfather of your protein smoothie. Government cheese pizza? Hello, community food programs. Even those gelatin meat molds influenced modern entertaining. So the next time you're meal prepping with your Instant Pot or grabbing a protein bar, remember, you're carrying on a tradition of kitchen creativity that goes back to aproned moms making magic from mystery meat. What shocked you most? Drop a comment and let me know which 1950s meal you'd actually try, or which one made you grateful for modern food options. And hey, if this trip through culinary history blew your mind, smash that subscribe button, because trust me, the past has way more wild stories where these came from.